Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Creator Podcast right here on Jordan Creates TV. And I would like to say a massive warm welcome to each and every one of you tuning in now today to listen to this podcast. So, a very warm welcome to you all in this lockdown pandemic period of time that we are all going through. And there is a lot to discuss. There's all sorts of things. We're going to be delving into it. We're going to be talking about the current state of affairs, this lockdown situation. We're going to delve into the things that are going on right now and what are things that are expected to happen. So, I hope you're all keeping well in lockdown, staying healthy and staying safe. Thank you all for tuning in, listening to this. I hope you've got yourselves a tasty beverage in order to relax and, listen to a bit of this podcast. And feel free to leave your comments and your thoughts in the comment section below about this podcast, about any of the subjects that we discuss, of course. So today we're going to be talking about, like I said, current state of affairs. And by that I mean, delving deep into the economic issues and crisis that is going to be occurring. And that indeed already has occurred right now. And I want to begin by discussing some of the pandemic measures, indeed the virus, the actual virus statistics and what's going on in the world, because I find it very, very interesting and fascinating. You guys will not believe, the type of things that I have actually discovered, when delving into my research and looking up, the latest on these updates happening around the world. But in reality, the situation is, when it comes to the numbers, you have the numbers of China, you have the numbers of Europe, and then you have the numbers of the UK, and then you have the numbers of America. We being residents, humble residents of the UK here, and we actually have ended up with the largest numbers on the books. I mean, it's crazy. Second only, of course, to the US. Now, what I mean by that is I think we have just crossed 30,000, 31,000, I believe. Very tragic fatalities here due to the spread of this disease. And it's not looking good, really, is it? It's not looking good on our country. It's not looking good on Boris Johnson. And I find it kind of crazy because we're quite a sophisticated country, but in the end, and it looked like we were doing quite good measures to, put this country onto lockdown and stop people from going to work and everything. But it looks like it was far too late, and we delayed for too long, and because we've got the highest deaths toll so far, and we also have a lot of cases in this country. So it's quite a difficult situation right now. Today, as of recording this podcast, Boris Johnson has just announced, it's a Sunday, right? Well, it's actually a Monday now. He announced on Sunday evening that the lockdown will now start to slowly go through the phases of being, I don't know. I mean, we may have a chance of slowly opening the economy. He said it's going to be another 2 months of lockdown probably, because only by the 1st of July will we realise what's going to be happening next. So we'll only be able to make that decision at the 1st of July, whether we can completely end the lockdown in terms of opening all the rest of the shops. But at the moment, it seems like some people can go back to work, only construction workers, stuff like that. And so, what are people doing? They're resorting to sunbathing, guys. I went to the park and I've never seen it so busy in my whole life. Indeed, I made a video about it and posted it onto TikTok. And, guys, it's people are out, they're having the time of their lives. They've just been crammed in quarantine. We had a sunny week here in this country. And, people have been going out to the park and utilising this free time to socialise with their friends. Play a bit of frisbee, play some cricket, play some football, things like this. So, people are engaging in sports. They're engaging in activities. And herein lies one of the crucial problems facing us at the moment. Before we even go into the economic crisis of how bad the country is suffering right now due to the close of businesses and the loss of money, the tragic loss of money all around the world to business owners and employers, which is mostly everyone, right? We have excuse me, we have a problem, a danger that these people out socializing are going to spread it. They're going to be spreading this virus. Indeed, they almost definitely are. I just don't think it's being talked about much right now. And it's kind of going under the radar because everybody is so focused about ending this lockdown and getting back to work, right? And getting the economy going again. But I've just seen on the news today, for example, that China has actually 13 new cases again now. So they feel like they've had a month or something with no cases, and they reopened their economy, and now a whole city in China once again has gone into lockdown. It's freaking crazy. And this time it is not Wuhan. It is another, some random place. Excuse me. So it is a northern country, a city in the north of China, I believe. And 600,000 population, right? So Wuhan had a population of 8 million, but still, that's a relatively big city. That's about the size of Brighton in England. So pretty crazy. And that isn't the worst thing, right? There's been, I think, something like some new cases popping up. I think it was in Germany. And Germany has released some of their lockdown measures, and there was some cases popping up in one other country that released its lockdown measures, which I forget which country it is now. So literally, we are having a full second spike in these countries now. Unless they are, I think they're trying to track down the exact 13 people and 7 people and stuff who are infected, so that they can just cut it out and stop it that way. But as we saw the very first time, it's pretty impossible to stop the virus from spreading quickly before you get to that stage. And so it's probably already spread. So yeah, this is looking like something that may not be lasting for another month or two, and then it's all going to be over. Guys, this is looking like another year or two of all these types of new spikes of the virus coming up. So it is truly a new world that we are living in, a new era, if you will. It's not the era of technology, excitement, and happiness. It's the era of virus, misery, and bat disease, or as Donald Trump may like to call it, this disease was created in a lab. It was concocted, like Neo Cortex on Crash Bandicoot concocts an evil potion. It's exactly like that. It's quite literally some evil scientists in China. It's all a big conspiracy, guys, and they've been cooking up this biological weapon, just to release it around the earth in order to attack the different countries and destroy their economies. That is one of the theories going around right now, and really Donald Trump is really behind that. He believes that there is sufficient evidence. News came out in America recently, this last week, and he's saying that they have sufficient evidence, to believe that it came from some sort of laboratory in China that deliberately. It's absolutely crazy, guys. Me personally, I really don't think it's a big conspiracy. I think, why would someone want, to necessarily just put the whole world on hold? It doesn't really make much sense for anyone. So yeah, it's a chaotic time, my friends, that we are living in. But excuse me, in my throat today, I've got quite a bit of a sore throat going on. In fact, I developed a little bit of a cough earlier on in the day, right? And I really started to think I may have the virus, because I thought it was persistent, but luckily it does not seem to be a persistent cough. Thank God. Thank God for that. Thank God for that, my friends. Pray for me, and I'm pretty sure that these are the things that's going to be happening. So if we look at it like that, you've got those things going on, and then the economy. So I think it's absolutely crazy and very interesting to see what's going to happen in the UK. I mean, we've gone 3 months now, 2 to 3 months almost, of us being, this economy being shut, and people don't have jobs, and people aren't going to now be able. People were originally expecting to start going back to work soon, right, this month, but it's not going to be like that now. It's going to be another few months. So in America, they've released all of these stimulus packages literally rolling out things like universal basic income, basically for the whole of America, guys. They're giving Americans like 1 grand to 2 grand a month, just like whether you're working or not. So I believe there is a petition in England right now for a universal basic income to get passed in, the House of Commons. However, this is a long shot in my opinion. I think it would be very, very difficult to get that type of legislation passed here in the UK. But to see what happens next will be very interesting indeed, and not necessarily knowing what's going to happen, because the government will have to do something, right? They may have to bail some people out because of this, all of these people becoming unemployed, and there not being any chance. Yeah, there not being any chance for us to work and for jobs to be open. So, in a way, it's a blessing in disguise. We have two ways of looking at this situation. You've got the positive approach. That's the type of approach I take, which is that you got to look at everything positively and in a productive way, right? There's literally no better way to use your time other than to make something out of it, and that is that the opportunity to try something new, to perhaps start a new career, so that when you go back to work you can pivot your career into something that you've thought of trying. Perhaps you can replan your future. Perhaps even you could become, if you've always wanted or been interested in being an entrepreneur, now is one of the best times to study and learn how to grow and start a business, and indeed how to grow or do an online business, even more interestingly enough, so that in the future, when we face these type of challenging economic times, these financial crises, these economic collapses, you won't have to go through these same type of period of lack of income and lack of work, because if you have an online business, you're online, like basically it will be thriving, right? Look at all of the online businesses right now in the world as we know them. They are literally all running and business as usual, right? Like they're all things are going really well. In fact, Amazon, Netflix, things like that, the likes of the growth of those types of businesses have shot up, especially the social media businesses, online advertising and stuff like that. But all of the actual physical businesses, shops, traditional and old-fashioned businesses, they're all very much at a standstill. Indeed, thousands, hundreds of thousands of these businesses are considering, fully just shutting down because they can't reopen. So, yeah, it is indeed a very interesting time we're living in. But that is a great reason to learn and study something that in the future, wouldn't you like to have one of those businesses, the businesses that are thriving now, right? So, that's the way to see it. This is an opportunity. There's always the time to innovate, and now is one of those chances. So that's the positive approach. And then looking at it from the negative side, you can be in fear and you can just complain about it. Of course, you'll be watching the news every day and just looking at how bad things are and complaining about Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson's not letting everyone have a haircut, and he's just being really obnoxious. He's laying out plans and mathematics that don't make any sense and blaming the government. But even if there was not, you can blame the government all you want and be in fear all the time and wondering what's going to happen. But even if this coronavirus crisis did not happen, an economic crisis probably would have happened, and it may not have been now, but it may have been in a few years. It may have been in 1 year. It could have been in 5 years' time. But eventually, the point is it was inevitable that another financial type of crisis or another recession is going to happen, because that's what happens, right? Recessions happen. They happen once every few years. They just keep happening over and over again. Economic downturns, economic collapses, a winter period, if you will, of in the financial terms and ways of looking at things. And so you have to be ready. You have to be ready regardless. These types of things, your mind has to be prepared for. You have to be positive. You have to have good habits. You have to have cultivated good things in your life to get you through these periods and to last you through these times. So So either way, that's a positive way of looking at the negative side of things, and so you do need to adopt a positive approach towards everything. And I think that's probably the takeaway from this podcast. And yeah, in terms of the creator podcast, there's not really too much creative stuff to talk about other than the current economic times at the moment, which I find particularly interesting. As you guys can tell, we're delving into some of the ins and outs of it here in this podcast. And yeah, let me know if you guys have enjoyed the podcast. If you have listened all the way to the end here, go ahead and type the code word to let me know that you have, listened to the podcast all the way to this point. Go and type into the comments apple juice. It's very random, guys, but type in apple juice into the comments of this section of this video, right? I would love to see, and if you have any thoughts about what we've discussed and your thoughts on the current situation, how do you think we should be looking at it? Do you think we should take things in a positive way and see this horrible economic crisis that we're currently going through as a positive opportunity to do things, to learn new things, to perhaps start a new career, or to innovate and to grow, as people as well as businesses, in our creativity as well? Or should we be quite just wanting the economy to reopen again and not seeing any other way and just hoping that it ends as soon as possible? And if it doesn't end, everyone's going to be pissed off, furious, and just angry because of this. You let me know, guys, what your approach is on it. Yeah, thank you very much all for listening and tuning in to this podcast. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we shall see you guys soon on the next one here on the Jordan Creates TV channel. So thank you all very much for listening, and we shall see you guys soon in the next videos.